everything's got its purpose, and many purposes actually. Like that's the we don't necessarily call ourselves permaculturists. I know it's the big thing these days, but it's just what we've been doing for years and years. You know, Sunny and I both have been, you know, living as self-reliantly as possible, and that includes, you know, having animals and doing food, and but everything's got to have more than one purpose, really. So, I mean, chickens, they obviously give us eggs, and the entertainment factor. But they're giving manure, and chicken manure is one of the best, high in phosphorus and nitrogen, and they are scratching around. They're eating grasshoppers. You'll hardly find a single grasshopper down in the pasture. They're fertilizing the pasture as they're grazing, because we have grazing chickens, which means they have a healthy diet, like a natural diet. Bugs, grass, and a little bit of the grain that we give them. And they're also, we purposely built the chicken coop right next to the greenhouse. And there's a little space where the heated air, because the chickens are going to heat in the winter their little coop with their body heat and also with the manure that's decomposing. And that heated air flows up through a little window into the greenhouse and helps heat the greenhouse.
Wow.
So multifunctional, and you get to learn, you know, to be resourceful. And the more you live this way, you learn to intertwine everything. So nobody's separate. We're all, you know, the animals and the plants and the people. They're all working together to you know, all to support and assist and you know, help each other grow. And also one more factor, they give carbon dioxide, which is what plants need to grow.
Right.
And big greenhouses, they all have carbon dioxide tanks, and so we've got little feathered carbon dioxide tanks to breathe and then feed the plants. And we have 6 milkers currently. My oldest one is 8, and she's been with me since she was 4 months old, so she's my first goat. And then, you know, I keep kids, the kids that look like they have a lot of potential, and they grow up to be milkers. The boys, they either get sold or they end up in our freezer. You know, we eat them. And so I feel really good about where they're going to. And so once they're sold, we'll have a Billy, or a buck goat, sneaky buck goat, and 6 milkers. And yeah, it's an interesting relationship. You know, they're definitely livestock, but in a, you know, like there's an image you get of, you know, like the CAFOs, you know, what they call the confined feeding operations, where when we lived in Idaho, there were 14,000 cows that they milked every day. 14,000 cows in this small area. They got fed an unnatural diet. They didn't have any grass to eat. And so we keep our operations small, if you want to call it an operation. And they all have names, and we love them. You know, we love them. We have a relationship with them. We honor their lives and their gift, and you know, the preciousness that they're alive, and that they can give us milk and manure and be a part of the cycle of this farm. When we first moved here a couple of years ago, it was in the middle of, they started kidding in the middle of a really cold winter. It was like December, I remember it, December 19th, and it got down to minus 13, and the first goat went into labor. I'm out there in my coveralls and freezing, you know, like the risk of the kid coming out and freezing in the first few minutes, because it's, you know, there's no heat in the barn, was real. And so I'm out there for 18 hours, you know, waiting and waiting and hanging out in the middle of the night, 13 below, with my goats, and you know, because of the weather and the freezing temperatures and everything, we lost a few kids, and we actually lost one of the mamas because she got pregnancy tuxing and didn't make it. So it's life and death, you know, being on a farm, there's life and there's death, and Sonny's the, you know, he's the guy that gets to butcher the goats, and it's a hard, you know, I cry every single time And we pray and we love them. We pet them up until the very last minute, and then they're part of the food chain, and that's life. It really puts you into the reality of that food doesn't just come in a on a styrofoam plate wrapped in plastic. This is how a farm works, and if you eat meat, that's how it works. And we know what it eats. Everything it eats, we feed. A lot of it comes from the garden, and so when we take that food, that meat into our body, it's it's clean, it's real. We have a relationship to it, and we feel good about it. Our conscience is clean. We're probably making, I say we, that's me and the goats. And Sonny too, Sonny's got his party feeds every morning and every evening, and so it's a family operation here, and I think we're making 4 or 5 different cheeses. Cheddar, provolone, chev, and St. Maure. We were talking about the other day, some molded cheeses. Chav is probably my favorite. It's easy. It doesn't require as much temperature variation. I can put the culture in, stir it, set it on the stove. Well, it's not a stove that's on. it's the cold cook stove, and then let it do its thing. Make curds, and then I hang it, and it's a beautiful process. Again, having a relationship to our food, knowing, if the trucks were to stop rolling, those big semi trucks that bring our food and keep us supplied, if for some reason, we ran out of fuel, or they couldn't run anymore, or there's a drought in California and they can't feed their cows, and so, there's no cheese coming our way. I know how to create food. I can grow it, I can store it, I can make cheese. Basically, we can live off what we create here.